Welcome to a video with Raederle.
Compromise compromises who you are. You shouldn't be compromising who you are in order to feel togetherness. Alright, I gotta ask you a question. Are you jaded about love? Because it seems like everybody, the whole society, is really jaded about love. It's funny because we glorify it, we romanticize it, we want it. And yet, why does it feel like nobody really truly believes in it? Nobody tries to tell the wolf or the deer or the chimpanzee that it should live without its tribe, its pack, its herd, whatever. We don't go up to the buffalo roaming the plain and say, dude, you gotta be independent. Sometimes when I talk to people who supposedly have a secure attachment style, I have to wonder if it's actually an avoidant attachment style in disguise. Now look, I'm not saying that you should be codependent and sacrifice your boundaries for another person and try to achieve a false sense of fusion by denying who you are in order to create confluence with them. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that it is actually possible to achieve a state of being so incredibly close to another person that you genuinely do stop being alone. I feel like so many of us settle for this endless loneliness. We settle for those teachings that we're born alone and we're gonna die alone and that all we really have is ourselves, and so therefore we should be our own safe haven, our own secure base. I'm not saying there isn't any truth to that, but when the truth looks that bleak, I've found that it's not the whole truth. One of the things that first drew me to polyamory was this idea that you wouldn't have to go through breakups. And another thing that drew me to it was wanting to create my own chosen family. Commitment, really, is what drew me to it. The idea that you could create a bond and then hold on to that bond. But the important thing about holding on to a bond with someone is to be fully present in the relationship with them, and for them to be fully present in the relationship with you, both of you bringing your truest values, your highest truth to the relationship. I mean, it's just not what most people are doing. I mean, let's be honest, most of us are completely trapped in this zero-sum game where we think I win and you lose, or you win and I lose. But the real truth is that we are a social species. We need oxytocin. We need the dopamine rush of being with someone that we trust so much and we have so much fun with, who makes us feel so happy and, yes, complete. It is not, you're not defective when you think that other people make you complete. That is part of being a social species. But in order to get that true sense of togetherness, you have to be in the relationship. You can't self-sacrifice your way into being happy. And you also can't make the other person sacrifice themselves to make you happy. You're never going to find that sense of true togetherness in that way. And what so many of these teachers or speakers are trying to tell us about being complete inside ourselves is they're actually telling us we have to stop sacrificing ourselves, we have to stop people-pleasing all the time. We have to actually put our real selves forward. And it's terrifying. Because of the fact that we're a social species, it's really terrifying to put your real self forward. Because if you vulnerably, truly put who you are completely on the table, the metaphorical table of the relationship, you could be rejected for your real self. It's scary. But what's interesting about putting your true vulnerable self forward, no matter what you think about yourself, your true vulnerable self is so lovable. The parts of ourselves that keep getting rejected are actually all of these coping strategies that we call our personality that get rejected. Now, I'm not saying those aren't really part of you. They are. This presentation right here, do you think this is my vulnerable, most soft and squishy inside self? No. This is a coping strategy I created when I was way back in 8th grade. I wanted to find a way to keep people more at bay. I was trying to find a way to get the bullies to stop bullying me, and I succeeded. I found how to be tough. I found how to be scary. I learned how, in a in a ghetto where being white was a minority and being goth was a crime, I found a way to intimidate people and get people to leave me alone. And I had the street smarts to know how to look at somebody in such a way that it didn't matter how I was dressed, where I was going, the fact that I was alone and 14 years old and pretty attractive if I don't say so myself. And yet I scared people. I learned to scare people with my eyes. Is that part of me? Yes. But is that the most lovable, vulnerable part of me? Obviously not. Some of you might see this presentation, you think that this mask, this protector personality, this coping strategy is inauthentic, and it may offend you or disgust you. That's your opinion, you're entitled to it. But if I were to instead show any of you, no matter what camp you are in about this presentation, if I were to show you my most vulnerable self, my grieving self, my suffering self, my loneliness, my humanity, if I show you that, the most likely reaction is going to be compassion and empathy. Our personalities are made up of an amalgamation of everything that kept us safe. Our likes, our dislikes, our preferences, almost everything we want in life has to do with what kept us safe in our childhood environment. But as we start healing those wounds of the past, it doesn't mean that all of those preferences fall away. So I still like dressing up like this, and I still think it looks cool, even if I don't have to present myself like this to keep myself safe anymore. I just like it now, and that's okay. Love isn't about meshing all of your coping strategies and your personality perfectly together with someone else. It's about being able to have understanding for those presentations that your partner or partners bring to the table, and it's about bringing the vulnerable needs underneath the strategies that you use to try to go about meeting those needs. It's about bringing what's underneath this to the table and finding compassion and empathy for each other and being able to hold each other's hand through a lot of pain. The anxious person is drawn to the avoidant person and vice versa, but why? There's so many explanations, so many books dedicated to this, but there's a really simple answer. And it's that we see a piece of what's missing in ourselves in the other person. And that's what attracts us to everything. We see a missing piece of ourselves we want to be reunited with. We literally aren't complete, and that's why we go through our life trying to find the pieces of ourselves in other people, and in media, in books that are important to us, music. I've come to figure out that every piece of media that's so important to me is because it represents a piece of myself, and it helped me see that piece of myself more clearly and to feel it and to accept it and to embrace it. That's why if you show your favorite movie to somebody and they are dismissive or invalidating in the movie, you feel personally insulted, like they just attacked you because you identified with it. It held a piece of you. Powerful, intense love, that ecstatic connection that's so rare that everybody wants, that seems like it's always dysfunctional. It's because that person holds so many pieces of ourselves that we want to reclaim, and we want it so much. And so yeah, it makes us act crazy in the pursuit of it. And sometimes we make the mistake of losing the rest of ourselves, trying so desperately to rescue the pieces of ourselves that we see in that other person. So many spiritual teachers, gurus, psychologists seem to be in agreement that you have to put yourself first. You have to really stick to your guns about who you are and what you need. And they're not all wrong. And sometimes people are in really abusive situations that they need to get out of. And sometimes those abusive situations can feel like love because you're getting that sense of confluence and connection, but you're sacrificing yourself completely to get it. You're really just becoming an adjunct of them. I'm not saying that there isn't any true love actually happening in those situations. It's a grayscale, it's really complicated, all the stuff's mixed up. And when you try to ask your friends, your therapist, your whomever for help, your friends will often be so quick to jump on board with the whole, he's a jerk, you should leave him camp, because they want so much better for you. They want to see you happy and fulfilled. And they don't understand, why would you keep coming back to someone who seemingly doesn't understand you or whatever it is? Who are you if you aren't attached to a particular person or particular people, or even a particular workplace. We get into codependent relationships, not just with lovers, but with all kinds of people, with parents, with siblings. If you want to actually have deep love with people, to bring yourself into the relationships, people can be very black and white about how you have to be there for yourself. You have to be your own pillar of truth and stick by it. But our truth is flexible. That's the thing. The truth that codependents are telling the rest of us that we need to hear, the people who do sacrifice their boundaries repeatedly for relationships, they're telling us something about what's true for humanity at large. And that deep truth is that our boundaries are flexible in order to serve social needs, right? This is why somebody can literally die to protect their family. This is why some people call us a eusocial species, like bees or ants. So sacrificing your boundary around what we're doing tonight, it's kind of small potatoes to sacrifice something like that for a social gain. Just like when you have two opposing political parties, or any two opposing ideologies, religions, each side is so passionate about what they believe in for a reason. There's some piece of golden truth that they have to bring to the other side, that the other side really needs to hear. So codependents bring this truth about how boundaries really are flexible in the face of trying to get our deepest, most important need for connection to be met. It's not actually self-sacrificing when your deepest need is to feel that social connection. So codependents are self-serving too. But narcissists, or people with avoidant attachment styles who are very highly independent and don't want to get themselves too tightly enmeshed with someone else, they also bring a golden truth to the table. And that is that you don't really have much if you don't have your own truth. So are you jaded about love? You might be jaded about love because you just don't know how to have yourself and your own truth and have another person genuinely close to you at the same time, to feel accepted for who you are and to accept them for who they are, and to actually have your hearts side by side. Compromise is not the answer. This isn't, I'm going to take some pain and suffering, and you're going to suffer a little bit too, and then it'll be okay because we're suffering for each other's benefit. That's not the answer. The answer is to put your needs on the table, for them to put their needs on the table, to come to each other with as much empathy as possible, really put yourself in their shoes, really take everything that they need and want and take that into yourself, and to create one bubble that you both exist in, where all the needs are on the table. And then one or both of you should have a change of heart about how you should go about things. If you feel upset that every Friday night they want to go out with their friends without you, the answer might be they don't go anymore. The answer might be you go with them. The answer might be you discover a new hobby together. The answer might be that you end up healing whatever it is about that upsets you and you go do something on your own. It doesn't matter what thing you choose. There isn't one right answer. The important part was that you both heard each other, you both cared about each other, and you worked towards something that actually felt good to both of you. Because compromise, where you both suffer a little and do some like weird alternating weekend thing where you're still suffering every other weekend, and then they're suffering every other weekend, that's not an answer. Compromise compromises who you are. You shouldn't be compromising who you are in order to feel togetherness, in order to feel love. I don't believe that compromise is a good thing. You should not be compromising yourself. I believe in authenticity, transparency. I believe in growth and change. I believe people really can expand their hearts and become a new, higher version of themselves, and that might be more compatible with many more people in many different aspects of their life in many different ways, in romantic relationships as well as in platonic ones. I believe in love, and I hope after watching this video, maybe you believe in it a little bit more too. Couple of mundane notes. I have not finished painting these walls yet, so my apologies for that horrendous maroon color. That's still what the wall used to be. And second note, this book is now finally out. Raederle's Teeth Remineralizing class is now available as a book. This contains everything that was included in the 3 videos I've released so far, as well as everything in the 4 videos that I've been planning on making and actually filmed for and haven't released yet. But it also contains so much more than that. This contains more things that I've learned in the intervening years. It contains everything you need to know about healing your entire oral area, not just your teeth, but also gum conditions and other things that can be affecting your teeth, such as infections that might be going on in your respiratory system or in your ears. Your teeth are one of the most expendable parts of your body. Basically, you have to heal your whole body to heal your teeth, and this is why people don't stumble across it. People who are otherwise healthy can still have cavities because you really need to heal your kidneys and your liver and so much more in order to have your cavities heal. If you want to figure out how to do that, this represents so much research. Nearly a decade ago I started researching this, and you can now get what took me a lot of time, so many hundreds of hours. You can now get that in a relatively short period of time by just picking up a copy of this book and reading it. I hope you will heal your teeth, and I hope you will heal your relationship with love, and I hope you will find yourself and stay true to yourself all at the same time. It's a tall order, but I've got a lot of faith. Namaste. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the things. This is Raederle, signing off.